One as much recently. Alright, let's see if that stream. Nah, it still says it's got poor quality. I'm not stopping it. Not yet, anyways. There we go. Now we're excellent health again. What's good? I'm here. It's Monday. And we got another stream coming to you. How was everybody's weekend? How was anybody's weekend, I guess. Really waiting until I get some more of my core folks watching. Want to actually talk about a few things. I've got content. I've got stuff to talk about. Some pretty some important news. I've got some tips, some tricks, and a big update concerning my roster, my main team's roster here. I'm pretty pumped about. Well, for starters, I'm gonna go ahead and break the news on that's been big from last week on the Scopely forums. We have a dedicated community manager there on the Scopely forums. A dedicated manager. That's a big deal. From what I can tell, her name is Shane. It's a her. Callie Shane, or it's a him with the girl's profile picture. So either way, Callie Shane is the new community manager at the Scopely forums. That's a big deal. Her job, her sole job, is to moderate the Road to Survival community, social media, the forums, and stuff like that. That's a big thing for us. It's something that we've been needing for a good year or so now, at least, with as much as the community surrounding the game has grown. So that's a welcome addition on my behalf, anyways. I think she's gonna do great things as long as we let her. As long as our mistrust and distaste for most things Scopely isn't directed at her, but to her. That's the important thing to keep in mind. There is, she is not the reason why we haven't had wars. She's not the reason why the game has been broken. She's not completely at fault here. So, welcome her and treat her better than we have treated Johnny and most other people involved with the game. So, on to big news concerning my roster. I had a couple lucky pulls this weekend and this morning, actually. This morning or early this afternoon, one of the two, I managed to make an Ascended 4-star, or ascend a 4-star up to 5-star. And I was very back and forth on who I was going to ascend, because I had a few options. I had Luke, Mark, Chad, some Reds that I could push up to make into 5 stars. I had Jesus and somebody else that I could push up to make a blue 5-star. And I had Beth and Greg Fairbanks that I could push up to make a yellow. And my thinking was, I really want to try for Ben. I really want Ben. Ben is a hell of a good leader. He's a solid leader to have. And so I went ahead and chose Greg Fairbanks to use, and I completely depleted my roster of 4 stars that I had. So I have no more 4 stars, no more 3 stars on my roster. I got something like 50-something, 40-something 5 stars now. Something like that. But I pushed that ascend button, and I crossed my fingers, and I hoped that I would get Ben, and I didn't get Ben. But I got the next best thing, in my opinion, and I got Sophia. Sophia is an incredible 5-star leader for fast characters. She gives a 45% HP buff for fast characters, for yellows. And I've got a strong roster of 5 stars right now, yellows. So she's going to be a welcome addition to my team. Now, I also managed to pick up 2 pulls on the 5-star token wheel. My first one was not that, I wasn't too thrilled about getting him, but he's going to come to use on tower teams and Survival Road. And that was Whispers into Screams Eugene. The 5-star blue Eugene, that very fast adrenaline rush, 44 adrenaline rush, and he heals very well, removes the stun and impairs, which will come in handy with all these. Man, look at this jackass. I didn't have my blinker on, dummy. It'll come in handy against these stun and impair teams, the stun and impair weapons that I run into all the time, as long as he doesn't get stunned or impaired himself. So I might find a use for him. But the one that got me the most thrilled, the most happiest, the most excited I've been on a pull in a long time, I pulled Michonne. I pulled Shield Michonne. The 5-star yellow Shield Michonne. I finally got Michonne. The Shield one. I got her. I got Michonne. I don't know if I can say that enough. I got Michonne. That makes me so happy that I got Michonne. All right, I have 2 absolute defense ice picks. I have 2 of them with additional HP added to them and the standard 30% defensive buff that comes to it. I have Michonne now. That makes my defensive team 100 times better already. I have the absolute defense, and I have the shield to put that absolute defense on. I have leaders to put in front of her. I can put Shiva and give her a defensive buff. I can put Tyrese, give her an HP buff. I could put Sophia when I level her up and give her a lot of hit points. I have options for her now, and now those super strong, super fast characters that I got have somebody to protect her, or to protect them. She will protect them. So I have the shield that I needed to make my defense more formidable for my opponents. I may not completely outright defeat people, but man, it's going to take them forever to beat me. It's going to make my team that much better, and that makes me a happy Larry right now. So with that pull of the Shield Michonne, it reminded me of the update to the 5-star wheel, and how much of a game changer that's going to be for your middle of the road players. And that also got me to thinking, a lot of these characters that you're going to get off of there are not your depot tunes. You know, you're not stuck with getting characters that everybody else has. And so maybe you're a little bit more I don't want to say ignorant, but I mean it's the right word, but it's not the right tense of the word, or not the right usage, I guess, in the situation. Maybe you just don't know about some of these characters and what kind of benefits they provide to your team, what kind of weapons you should be crafting for these characters, and how to use them. So I thought it'd be cool to go over, every couple of days I'll go over 2 or 3 of them and give you my take on what you should do with them. So first one is Shield Michonne, of course. That's the one I got lucky with. And as more of you are pulling her, you're gonna think to yourself, what do I do with Shield Michonne? How can I best use her? Well, she's a shield. She's a human shield. That's the first thing you got to know. Do you want to use her on attack? I wouldn't. That's just me, though. I don't like using shields on attack. But she will go great on any defense, no matter who you have as her leader. She'll help you out a lot. She'll do better if you give her a good melee leader, like a Shiva would be great. If you were lucky and got the limited edition Negan, that would be great too. Maybe you pulled the Dwight instead of the Jesus. You could use Dwight to give her that defensive buff. As Mark says right now, don't level her AR. Don't level her Adrenaline Rush. She pops really fast. She's a 45, right? And while normally I would strongly advocate for leveling the Adrenaline Rushes of your characters, for Michonne, I'm going to urge you to shy away from doing that. Because she's such a strong shield, she's not doing you any service by popping. Okay, by using her Adrenaline Rush, she's doing more harm to you on defense. Well, I'm going to tell you why you don't want to level her Adrenaline Rush, because you want her to keep that shield up, especially if you have the absolute defense weapon to put on her. Because the longer she is your shield, the more characters that got to run through her to get to the rest of your team. So you want to craft. Most people have luck with the ice pick, the ice climbing pick. Make it an absolute defensive weapon, so that way when she gets hit, she doesn't take any damage. And if she doesn't take any damage, she doesn't charge your opponent's Adrenaline Rush. So normally when you are hitting a character, hitting an enemy, you're going to add 20 attack points to your Adrenaline Rush. And then if you have a very large bonus, you're going to add another 8. And if your leader has a very large bonus, you're going to add another 8. So you could add up to, I believe it's 40 attack points with every hit. And most attack characters are going to have 45 or 44 attack points until they can use their adrenaline rush. Well, if you don't have her adrenaline rush leveled up and it stays at that base of 90, she's going to have to take a lot of hits before she pops. But there's also that increased chance that whoever's hitting you is not going to get their adrenaline rush built up. So you want to keep her adrenaline rush as low as possible. The same thing goes for any shield. You don't want them popping. You want them staying as a shield to protect those other 4 characters on your team. Because if they can't break through your shield, they can't harm them. Now, another character that you're going to see in that 5-star character wheel that not a lot of people have yet, but are going to get, is the All-Out War Ezekiel. He is the Guardian All-Out War Ezekiel. Now, we were lucky enough, except Magna, you can use Magna's, because she impairs on attack, I believe. And I'm going to talk more about shields here in a minute. But first I want to get through these. I've got 3 5-star characters that I'm going to go over. One of them was Shield Michonne. The next one is the All-Out War or Guardian Ezekiel. Now, Guardian Ezekiel, the All-Out War edition, he brings a certain dynamic to your team that not a lot of characters do, and that is the Guardian leader, the Guardian Specialist skill. That acts as a human shield of sorts for one character on your team, in that he will block any hit, adrenaline rush or not, on that character. And that comes in handy. It only happens when he lands a critical hit. And normally you don't want, not that you don't want, but you don't strive to increase critical on your everyday human attack teams. Critical's mainly used against walkers, against the zombies. You know, you want that headshot, but you do want it on Ezekiel. His adrenaline rush pops really fast, 45 AP, and he gets an additional 80 critical for the next 2 turns. And that's the next 2 turns he's going to give you a Guardian on one of your characters. Okay, for the next 2 turns. So what would you do? He gets Ezekiel's special staff or whatever, a weapon that's attached to him and him only, and it comes with a random healing when taking damage specialty perk, and that's a really good perk, I think. Okay, so what do you want to do to Ezekiel when you get him? Well, you want to level his adrenaline rush, of course, but you also want to pay special attention to that weapon of his. You want to make sure that you load that thing up with as much critical as you can. And then you're going to want to put the very large or huge AP bonus when attacking. Okay, you want to do all that. But you want to pay special attention. First thing you're going to want to do is you're going to want to put the AP bonus on. And then you want to go for the critical. Yes, and I'm going to get to that on the next one that I talk about with Shiva. But for right now, you want to use the trick that I've been sharing. The 99% critical bonus on weapons. You know, you want to do the reset. You want to do level 1 upgrades until you reset. And then... I lost the team there. And then you want to put the critical bonus on. You want that plus 30 critical. And then you're going to add a very large bonus. And then you're going to add an additional critical to it. And what that's going to do is help him hopefully pop on turn 2 and provide a guardian on the first 3 turns guaranteed. And now Shiva is another character that not a lot of people have, and now you're going to start seeing an influx on it. All right, all you want to do with this 5-star Shiva that they have in the 5-star token wheel is max him out to level 80, tier 4 level 80. You want to max him out. Don't worry about doing anything to her adrenaline rush. Don't worry about doing anything to her claws that come standard. You want to go straight to the tier 4 level 80 so that you can ascend her to the 6-star status. Leave the rest of it alone. Don't waste your resources on that character. Shiva is one that you want to ascend. There are 2 in that wheel right now that I think are no questions asked, ascend right now. Shiva and Carl. The others are questionable. I don't think you should do anything with Tyrese. I don't like his 6-star version. But Shiva and Carl, they're both in the 5-star wheel. Ascend them. Carl's got a badass leader skill. He's got the best leader skill that you can have, in my opinion, in the game right now. Ascend him, ascend Shiva. Now, but don't do anything to her weapon. Don't do anything to those claws that come standard on her. Leave them alone. It's a waste of your resources. Now, for the rest of the drive, I want to talk about shields, the human shields. I still, even though I'm on cloud 9 with the shield Michonne, they can be a bit overrated in my opinion. Defense isn't as important as a good attack team, because Tyrese does look like a New England Patriot in that he looks like a loser. No, I'm kidding. Patriots fans, don't unsubscribe yet. All right? I don't like that Tyrese. But the human shields can be a bit overrated in my opinion, because you don't need them on attack. And your defense is only going to get you so far. No matter how good your defense is, you're going to get beat. A lot of people put true, Mark, true. 6-star Shiva is, and I think Carl with his leader skill as well will be a very usable character at this stage. But your human shields, you can get by without one. Defense, don't put too much weight on your defense. Everybody's defense can be beaten and will be beaten. But let's go over some of these human shields and the different perks that each one has compared to the others, and what kind of weapons you should craft for those human shields. And let's start with the OG of the OG shields. Katja. Katja is your 3-star human shield. She's available in the elite tokens, and I've been getting her a lot with those elite tokens lately, in this region and in others. If you have an absolute defensive weapon, you'll still see a lot of top tier teams with a human shield Katja on their defense team. It's a waste of space. Don't do it. She's not good for anything. Okay? She doesn't have the attack, the hit points, or the defense to really be formidable. So don't waste your space with her. Alright, Katja's a joke. Garrett, the original, the first, in my opinion, the first game-changing character that was dropped since I started playing. Alright? He was the first 5-star character I ever got. And for a few months, if you had Garrett on your team, you were hot shit. You were on top of the world. Alright? But once people started realizing how awesome Andrea was, he went to the wayside really quickly. He's got a great adrenaline rush. He heals 75%. And that's for every character on your team, every member that's not dead. And he removes negative status effects, I think all of them, not stun or impair, but like attack down, defense down. He removes those. He's got a great adrenaline rush, but it's a double-edged sword there. You don't want to level that one up too much. All right, I of course, my naivety, I maxed it out immediately because that's, you got to level up the adrenaline rush to use them. And even then, even now, he's useless without a stun gun. He doesn't really have a purpose unless you have a stun gun on him. Which you get that on the Defender 3 for your alert weapons. Moving on to his counterpart, the Blue Garrett, the strong one, or no, Tough is blue. Tough Garrett. Tough Garrett, he is the first blue human shield. Now I get the 3-star. Now I wanted that earlier. All right, Tough Garrett he's one that where the debate comes in on whether or not to max out or level up the adrenaline rush. I did, because his adrenaline rush is pretty badass. All right, he one enemies adjacent to that one for a turn, and he pops on turn 2, turn 3-ish, depending on the weapon you have on him. I got a very large bonus to AP when defending on him, so he pops pretty quick for me. So I would recommend leveling up that adrenaline rush. And here I've just moved on to Chilton region so I can continue farming while talking. He needs a good leader. He's kind of tanky, but not too much. So I would recommend putting him with a good leader to give him a defense and an HP buff. And your weapon you want to find, I wouldn't put a military shotty on him. That's going to come standard with a plus 30 attack and a very large bonus when attacking. That's not going to help you out much. You want to find a Jesus' rifle that Scopely gave away a couple months back. That would be a good weapon to put on him because you're going to need that defensive boost. And you're going to want to put an impair when defending, which is your Defender 3 for your tough weapons. Now, the green shield, Lee. You have Lee and Jesus as green or strong shields. Both of them are, I don't know much about either of them, to be honest with you. I don't have either of them. I've never really looked into either of them because I don't feel that they're that awesome. Personally, I think they're both better for attack characters because they have very good adrenaline rushes that pop pretty quickly, and they're pretty strong characters. If you have either of them, I would say go for the AP down when defending, which is Raider 3 on the on the armory for tough weapons, and I would put that on maybe a defensive ore that you can grab from the depot, and then maybe add an AP when defending bonus or something like that. The shield that Mark was talking about earlier was Magna. And Magna, she's on Premier Tunes right now. She's got a great adrenaline rush. She impairs when attacking. She is one that is the exception to the rule of don't level the ARs on your shields. You want to level her AR, you want to put a stun gun on her, and you want to give that AP when defending, because you want her popping quick. The quicker she pops, the better. Conrad, another excellent shield to have. He is on the same line as Shield Michonne, the yellow one, in my opinion, as the two most valuable shields in the game. And the only reason that I put him up there is because of that absolute defensive weapon that comes standard on him. See where I'm going with this? Shield Michonne and Conrad are the two best shields in the game, because they can both have the absolute defensive weapons. They're the only two that can. Now Garrett, the blue one, he's viable if you have the impair when defending. Magna and Red Garrett, they're viable if you have stun when defending. Otherwise, Conrad is the only shield that means anything. Yeah, there's that 4-star shield. She's a red one. I can't remember her name. What is her name? But again, she's not usable unless she has a stun gun. And that is why I think I've said it so many times over and over again in the streams, in the daily streams, the armory is the most important facet of your game right now. Because you can create weapons that completely change the landscape of your team. You've got a 4-star shield, boom. You put a stun gun on it, all of a sudden that thing is making your team 100 times better. Oh, you don't have a shield? Oh, but I got impair rifles or impair shotguns. A Stella, there you go, Stella, yeah. She was a war prize, I think, or some kind of faction event prize where top factions got her not too long ago. But she's worthless without the stun gun. You gotta have the stun gun for your character, for your red shields. You need to get that impair weapon for your Garrett. You gotta get the AP down for your Lee or your Jesus. If you don't have those, you're not using the characters to their full potential. For Shield Michonne, you've got to get that absolute defense. And if you didn't catch the beginning of the stream, I'm gonna go ahead and do a little recap here. We got a new dedicated community manager on the forums and in social media for the game, for the Road to Survival community. All right, her name is Callie Shane on the Scopely forums, and her only job, her only reason for existence to us is to provide support and management for the Road to Survival community. So I'm going to recommend, strongly recommend, do not hold your prejudices against Scopely towards Shane. Alright, she is new. She's new to the team, completely brand new to the team. She's a former game developer, and she deserves a chance to provide us with the community support that we deserve. So give her a chance. Go to the forums. There's a long thread. Say welcome aboard, and don't hold everything that you held against Johnny against her. Ben Hill on the stream, maybe next time. I'm getting close to home, so I probably won't do it today. I'll tell you what, I'll farm Ben Hill tomorrow on the drive home. Right now I'm in Chilton. The other news were I did 3 pulls between this weekend and this morning. This weekend I pulled Blue Eugene, Whispers into Screams, the 44 AP Healer. Pulled him from 5-star tokens. And then this morning I pulled Sophia from, or I didn't pull, I ascended Greg Fairbanks into 4-star Sophia. And then I did another 5-star token pull this weekend, and I got Shield Michonne, who ever since she has dropped has been the one character I've wanted to get my hands on, and now I got her. She's mine. She's mine. She's all mine. I'm stoked. I'm freaking thrilled. I can barely contain my excitement. She is the first character I've received in a long time that I have completely said, I'm sorry, faction, but she's getting leveled up immediately. I'm farming as much as I can so that I can level her up quickly. I got a 100k scavenger event or scavenger mission that I got her on right now, and as soon as it finishes, I'm going to collect it. I got to get her leveled up. Red Maggie and Ellen. Red Maggie, Mark wants Red Maggie. I don't remember if Mark ever got her or not, but Mark really wants her. And Ellen is a hell of a good drop leader to have. She's a drop leader that you can keep up during wars and run her as the team leader on your defense and still put up a seriously good team. Yeah. In other news, I'm going to be streaming. I'm going to continue streaming Road to Survival frequently and daily, on the drive home, Monday through Friday anyways. I don't know if I'm going to do it on weekends unless it's a war weekend. If it's a war weekend, raid tournament weekends, I'll probably stream. Raid tournament, I'll probably stream. War weekends, I will be streaming whenever I'm on, whenever I'm warring, as long as the faction doesn't mind it. Once it gets in the way of our faction performing at our true capabilities, then I'll stop streaming it. But raid weekends, I'll try to stream it. Survival road weekends, maybe. We'll see. And then there is Overwatch. I've got a pretty solid group. I got a pretty solid group together for competitive Overwatch. So I'm going to start streaming my quest to get better at Overwatch. The next goal for me is to get to the platinum ranking on Overwatch. Right now I'm gold. I'm about 400 SR points away from getting up to platinum. So I'm going to continue streaming Overwatch, but probably more frequently than the other games that I play online on the PS4. That's just because that's what I want to do. I really enjoy playing Overwatch, and I want to get better at the competitive scene there. But I just pulled into the house. I'm in the garage now. It looks like we're getting ready to leave. So I'm going to throw up the deuces. And thanks for watching, guys. I'll catch you around. I should be on Overwatch tonight.